Hello and welcome back to another video. So for today's I'm making another robot out of a bunch of junk, which again was from a doodle that I did. In here I'm grabbing all my bits that I think I'll probably end up using here. So I had this old wooden dragon like kit, it's like one of those moving ones. I used some pieces from that to make the top part of the legs because they kind of look like thighs in a way. And then I grabbed some dog toilet rolls to attach to the legs to extend them because I wanted them to I really like the legs that kind of point forward on the joints instead of just pointing regularly how a knee would bend, but like the opposite direction. Then here I grabbed, I don't even know what those bits were from, but I started to make the feet, and then there were these again, a lot of this is just junk that I found in my bits box that I'm not completely sure where they're from, but I use them to make these kind of clawed toes. So I thought they would look cool. And again, I found some more stuff from my dragon kit that I glued on little bits and circles with holes in them and stuff to make some looking like joints and gears or whatnot. And then grab some beads, gluing them in, kind of rounding off the tops because I don't want some crazy gaps just peering out because that's not fun. And then I started to glue on some more of those weird, I don't know, what are they? Clips or some sort of thing to hold something together. Again, this is another piece that I don't know where it's from, but after a little bit of struggling with my clippers, I thought these bits would look really nice on the legs as some sort of I don't know, mechanical tubing or whatever. So I glued it on the outside and inner part of the legs just to keep it making kind of sense, I guess. Obviously none of this robot makes any sense at all, and it won't. But you know. And yeah, so I somehow lost the footage from me making the main part of the arms. I don't even know how, I couldn't find it, so sorry about that. Here I started to build the little cockpit with those two wooden bits and the bottom bit for the actual pilot, or cyborg person basically, who's going to be inside of the robot. So I started to glue some foam on just to round off the edges of the wood bits because they're kind of unclean and I almost want to say nasty, but they weren't nasty, it was just unclean wood. And then here I started to glue on a ton of random pieces of foam and corrugated card. Again, I have zero clue, on this one there's zero clue where this is from, but it's some sort of kind of rubber kind of thing I glued onto the back because I thought it looked nice, and then I added again another rubber kind of piece that I don't know what it was from. Now this is where I start to sculpt the actual person who's going to be inside the robot. So I used some green stuff and used a piece from a Death Corp box as the helmet, as a World War II kind of looking helmet. But I was having issues with it sticking down, so I stuck a piece of metal armature wire and then glued it onto the bottom, so then I could sculpt the tendrils attached because he was just not staying still when I was sculpting them before I added that. Then after I added that, sculpting became quite easy, and then I grabbed some more foam sheets to glue and add armor plating, and this is where I started to do hands. These hands on this guy, I'm not too happy with. They're alright. The one hand I like a lot more than the other because one is just a lot better looking. The one I'm working on here is the one I prefer in the end, just because I liked its shape and its kind of gripping potential, I guess, which obviously again, it wouldn't actually be able to grip anything because it wouldn't make any sense in any engineering sort. But the other hand, I feel I didn't do the fingers really great, and it was kind of one jointed fingers, so I didn't really like it as much as that hand. But, you know, it turned out looking fine. And again, I grabbed some more foam sheets to add some more armor plating, and then I actually glued them to the base finally, which is I think, like protein powder bottle, like, I almost said tank. It's not a barrel, it's like a jar, I guess? A container, a plastic container. So for the actual fingers on this hand, I used some metal armature wire, beads, and more of the, like, dog, like, toilet roll stuff. That stuff is, like, I keep using it in my builds because it's really sturdy, the shape is really nice, it works, like, surprisingly well for most things and joints. As you can see, I used it on, like, the main arms. And then foam sheets. These things are so nice. They glue to about any surface, and they just add so much more and keep it, like, not looking flat, basically. They're legendary. And then that piece there is a knockoff Lego. Do not worry, it's not real Lego, so I call it just. I found this little plastic bear trap thing that I used to add some more detail. And this was like the top of a fire hydrant toy or something that I attached onto the arm, just to add a little more because I thought it was a little empty. And then I found also these plastic chains that I attached one there and then another one on a different part of the body. And then I used some of these 3D printed swords from a, like, figure I got, or my brother, something like that. I can't exactly remember what it's from. And then I grabbed the tank bit, attached that to the back, glued some more random, like, pen bits onto the, like, joints of the legs, again to just add more detail. Found this, I think this was part of a pen, which again just adds more detail. I end up building up the back a lot more. I originally didn't have that in my plan, but I thought it would look cool, so I end up building it up more. And again, these foam sheets, man, they add so much to the design, so much. And I added another pen because I wanted to differentiate the legs a little bit, added another pen lid to the top. I didn't want this model to be too asymmetrical, or not asymmetrical, well, that's what I wanted it to be. I didn't want it to be too symmetrical because then I thought it would be kind of boring and less interesting, so I ended up making it quite asymmetrical because I thought it would be more interesting that way. Here I start to use more of the toilet roll because I decided to add, like, pipes and, like, smokestacks to the actual robot, just because I thought, again, none of this would actually make sense, but if I'm trying, one of the main key things that you want to do when you're making junk robots like this is make it seem like it would work, or seem like it would kind of make sense. So I'm adding these bits to say, like, say it's steam powered or has some sort of fuel in it. I wanted it to look like it would have a place for the smoke to come out, or so it's not like, you know, building up or whatever. Grabbed another pen bit and the tactic of a copious amount of hot glue to attach another pipe, and then grab some more foam sheets to make it all feel like it was actually attached to the body. Again, the foam, man, oh, it's so good. It's really malleable and, like, easy to use. And then to add some more detail to the other pipe, I grabbed, I think it was like a toy bow staff from something. I don't actually know what it was from, to, again, extend the pipe a little more. I wasn't happy with just 2 pipes, so I ended up adding a third one for even more detail. Again, I don't know why, I like pipes. I really like pipes. They add a lot of detail. I don't know why, I just like pipes. And I grabbed this piece that I have zero clue what it was from, to just, again, add some more to the arm, and I ended up putting I think it was a corrugated sheet over it to, never mind, I lied, it wasn't a corrugated sheet at all, it was just a foam. I'm good at what I do. Yeah, so these are the hands that I wasn't too happy with, where it's kind of just 2, like, little bits instead of, like, jointed fingers. So I wasn't crazy happy with the hands, but I think it's alright. And then I added a shoulder plate to one and glued a ton of spikes on. And on the side of the like backpack thing, I still thought I could use more, so I found this weird circle thing and then this weird metal bit. And now I think it was time for painting. So I primed it black, which, ooh, it's just made everything like look like it was part of the same thing, if you know what I mean. It felt very, there's a word for it, but I can't remember. Seamless, kind of, incorporated. But, as you know, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I am going to tell a story about this robot. So we'll get to that now. The war feels never-ending, as it will go on and on forever, but we recently developed a weapon to stop it. This is Dr. Malden reporting. We have been developing a weapon to end this war from the very beginning, but progress has been slow. But finally the project is able to be launched upon the battlefield. This weapon is the perfected soldier, inside a large suit of metal armor. It has no immediate weapons, that all it needs are its metal knuckles and its intense speed. Just like a gorilla would, it uses its front arms to propel itself across the battlefield, being able to cross the battlefield in a matter of seconds. Many people died while we built this machine, as we needed a perfect mind which no computer could do. We needed a human to operate the machine. But eventually, we found the perfect subject. Mr. Douglas. Just something quick for me editing. In some of the recordings, there may be some banging. That is due to construction being done near my house, and you may even hear it in this recording. They're using hammers, I think, right now, and they're just banging on stuff and whatnot. So it may be a little loud, and as again, I think you'll probably be able to hear that using like saws and stuff. So just try to ignore that, I guess. Sorry about that. And now that I've told the story, I'm gonna go back to actually like explaining some of the painting. So there I just did what I've developed this painting style that I like to do, where I do darker color and then I do a like spongy kind of lighter color over. So layering up on top of a brown, I grabbed quite a bright beige. I start to layer up in all the pieces, and I did that with green as well. So I continue to do that. I think it's an interesting painting style, is it kind of still brings out what I like in my style a lot of times, which is kind of more cartoony, but it also looks cool at the same time, if you know what I mean. So I also did that for the gray bits, and now I'm actually painting Mr. Douglas, which I started with a very dark base coat, and it's kind of like, it's like mutated body or whatever, and then grabbed a lighter because I liked the quite big contrast on it, and started to like dabble with it, like make all the tendrils or whatever you would call it. It's kind of look like weird, gross tendrils. And I started to paint in his helmet, doing the same thing that I do, layering up. His helmet is a little messy. I think I put too much paint on the certain areas of it, like instead of 2 eyes, his visor kind of just became 1. But you know, it's alright, I guess. And then I grabbed a metallic silver, gunmetal gray, to dabble all over the model, just kind of making it look a little more shiny. And then I grabbed the cockpit and used my tweezers and scissors to destroy it, basically. And then I glued in the model. I put on the actual cockpit, which I think the shutter cockpit was the right decision. Now this I recently got this new VFX for my bases. Man, this is the forbidden peanut butter. It looks so good, but you really shouldn't eat it. And I can't even eat peanut butter. So this is my first time using it, so I'm still kind of getting used to how it works. But I grabbed just a ton of it and started to layer it up all over the base, because I wanted to make kind of like a sandy, worn, like battlefield kind of look. where it looks like they've been fighting in like muddy terrain or kind of deserty, sandy, where there's a lot of dust and there's been stuff. And then I think I went a little overboard, but I ended up liking it. I just smashed a ton of the terrain mix all over the model just to incorporate it with the base a little more. And like dry brushed the floor with a beige color and did that to the rest of the model as well. Just kind of incorporating the entire model to make it look like one thing. Now, I think it's fine. I think it's time for the final shots.